Kalonzo Musyoka does not walk away from a fight easily. The Wiper party leader has survived 4 decades of Kenya's political by knowing exactly when to hold firm and when to change strategy. On Thursday, February 19, 2026, he made a decisive strategic move publicly, announcing that the United Opposition would never again return to the office of Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja. That announcement sent a clear signal across the country's political landscape. The opposition had exhausted its patience and now was changing the terms of engagement entirely. To understand what led to this dramatic standoff, it is necessary to go back to January 25, 2026, when a violent incident occurred at Witima Church in Othaya, Nyeri County. Police fired Teargas inside the church compound and allegedly discharged live rounds during a Sunday service that was being attended by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and other United Opposition leaders. Gachagua fled the scene amid the chaos, and vehicles belonging to opposition figures were also damaged. A court order prohibiting the use of force in places of worship had been in effect at the time, making the incident constitutionally significant. No arrests were made in the weeks that followed. Following the attack, the United Opposition, comprising Kalonzo's Wiper Patriotic Front, Gashagua's Democracy for Citizens Party, Eugene Wamalwa's DAPK, and Jubilee's Fred Matiang'i, took a formal step to demand answers. On January 30, 2026, the four leaders marched to Jogoo House in Nairobi and met with Inspector General of Police Douglas Kanja in what they describe as a good faith effort to allow independent investigation to proceed. At that meeting, they demanded a full report on the Othaya attack and gave security authorities 2 weeks to arrest those responsible. A follow-up brief was scheduled on February 16, 2026. On Sunday, February 16th, a second major incident took place in Kitengela, where a rally led by Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna was disrupted using tear gas. Kalonzo, who condemned the incident the same day, stated that 2 Kenyans lost their lives and several others were injured during the Kitengela confrontation. He described the victim as unharmed citizens exercising their constitutional right to assemble and characterized the action as state-sponsored repression. That same day, the opposition marched to the Inspector General office to receive the promised report, only to find that Kanja and his entire team had failed to appear despite prior formal notification. Kalonzo addressed supporters outside Jogoo House on February 16 with visible frustration. He declared that the Inspector General's absence was not an accidental but a deliberate institutional choice, one that prioritized silence over accountability. He announced that the opposition would return on February 20th, 2026, or earlier if necessary, to receive the report, and warned that if impunity persisted, they would mobilize the broader Kenyan public. He also accused President Ruto of directing Kanja to skip the meeting, though he did not provide documentary evidence for the specific claim. After honoring the scheduled appointment on February 16, the opposition was informed that the Inspector General would not be available until February 20. This postponement proved to the breaking point. On Thursday, February 19, 2026, Kalonzo issued a formal statement on his ex-official account on behalf of the United Alternative Government, declaring that the coalition would not be returning to Kanja's office under any circumstances. In that same statement, Kalonzo made a significant revelation. He announced that the investigation into the Witima Church or attack had already been concluded. According to opposition-owned intelligence, 12 police officers had been identified as the direct perpetrators of the attack, and they had used 2 Land Cruisers vehicles that originated from Nairobi. He further named 2 members of parliament from Murang'a and Nyeri counties as individuals who financed and facilitated the operation, though he did not publicly identify them by names. Kalonzo also accused Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen of intercepting an investigative file that had been prepared for submission to the Director of Public Prosecution, allegedly with instruction that no prosecution should be proceeded. United Opposition announced it would initiate private prosecution against all 12 police officers and the 2 MPs identified in their investigation. The coalition also served a formal notice on Kanja and the Kenya National Police Service not to go interfere with the upcoming public assemblies, including a rally in Nairobi on February 22, 2026, and further gathering in Kisii, Nyamira, Nakuru between 23rd and February 28, all of which they were protected under Article 37 of the Constitution, guaranteeing a peaceful assembly in Kenya. These letters come amid the excessive force and the suppression of voices by Kenya Kwanza government, whom they are deliberately using the police to silence political opposition, including the faction being led by Rigathi Gachagua, the former deputy president, and the recent third wave force being led by former Secretary General of ODM and Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna to suppress and chase away or instill fear on Kenyans not to attend those public functions.